Little bastard could have broken my rib cage.
Swell. You would have bled whiskey all over the ring.
Yeah, gave him quite a scare.
A little stage fright.
Most kids are dying to get up there with the rest of us.
Kids, probably. Want to catch the clowns with their pants down.
And I will show them something what they don't want to see. Ah!
I'm sure you would, Charlie.
That's trash.
Hello and welcome to That's Cool, That's Trash, the podcast where we watch a psychotronic movie online, then get together on Skype to break down the crazy. I'm your host, Matt Howell, and I'm joined by some friends today. I'm joined by Jason and Joe. Hello, guys.
Hello. What's up?
Your frequent guests of the show. I'm sure listeners know who you are. So we're doing kind of a little different thing this time. Normally we pick a psychotronic movie, we watch it, I make some clips, we get together, and we kind of walk through it either out of chronological order or through it and just play some sound clips and laugh and goof and have a whatever. And then we judge the film. This is not going to be that structure. This is going to be more of just a general open discussion. But the film that prompted this for me was a movie from 1988 called Clownhouse. So this was, I was previewing movies for the show. And, on the right-hand column of YouTube, it recommends things based on what you just watched. And one of them was Clownhouse. And I thought, I've never heard of that. Looked it up on Wikipedia and was immediately disgusted and entranced. Because this movie was directed by a man, if you want to call him a man, a dude named Vincent. Yes?
Victor.
Victor?
Victor.
Yeah. Victor Salva. And he was convicted of essentially raping his child star, the main character in this film, and videotaping it. And when this came to light, his place was raided and they found child pornography. So he went to jail for 15 months of a 3-year sentence and got out. And oddly, that is not where the very sad story ends. It keeps going, and this guy kept getting work, and he still continues to work.
So that was in he was convicted of that in 88 or 89.
89, I think, yeah.
And everything that people know him for was released after that, including this film and his most well-known franchise were all released well after that.
Yeah. So he did the Jeepers Creepers franchise 1, 2, and 3. But I think maybe he might be better known if you're not a horror film fan for his film Powder. Which was actually, I think, nominated or something, but it had a lot of buzz. It's like that albino kid that has magic powers.
Yeah, like telekinesis or magnetic something. I saw it.
What is John Travolta in it?
No, I did the same thing. That was Phenomenon. They came out the same year. Phenomenon, Travolta they found out later it's a tumor that gave him strange powers. Powder was just I don't know what his deal was, but he was he was brain guy from Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah, he didn't have a pigment holding him. Right. Yeah, distributed by Disney, the well-known house of pedophilia.
Yeah. So I guess my question was, and this is Jason and I met through a comic book message board forum kind of podcast place, and there have been no shortage of you and I have been involved in of the question of separating the art from the artist. It comes up a lot in comics creators stuff, comes up in film, comes up in everything. So
yeah, because there's a lot of assholes in this world.
There are,
and some of them are artists.
And so there's always a sticky conversation around where do you draw the line? When is the creator's behavior so egregious that their work is not consumable by you anymore, if that ever happens? So we're just going to be talking more about that generally. We'll talk a little bit about Clownhouse because there was some specific stuff in there that was, maybe it's contextual, but there was some stuff that was, I think even if I didn't know the backstory, I would have said ooh a few times.
So can I speak to that a little bit?
Yeah.
So my impression of it was that, I mean, it's very broad. It's like it's almost like there's not a lot you can do of like, it's just a kid has a phobia of clowns and clowns come to kill him and his brothers, right? That's basically it.
That's the plot.
That's
yeah.
the plot.
So, and there's really not a lot that you can do to flesh that out. But about, I don't know, 2/3 of the way through the movie, I was like, you know, it's funny how sometimes these guys kind of do these things where they're like Freudian confessionals.
Yep.
And so what I mean by that is like you watch this movie and it's like, well, okay, what could be a better sort of analog, like a metaphor for pedophile? Is a killer clown.
Yeah.
Because it's like a thing, you know, that's like supposed to be like fun for kids and like,
Innocent.
you know, innocent and earn their trust and hey, and then it's like, you know, to be literally predatory. And then you have these kids. So there's 3 kids. And so there's the youngest kid who's the one with the clown fear. And then there's the middle.
He's also the victim.
Sorry,
That's the victim of the actual real life
That's Nathan Forrest Winter,
molestation. Yeah.
7-year-old molestation.
And he was like 12 at the time. Then there's the middle kid, and then there's the older kid. Oldest is played by Sam Rockwell, the only name you will know in this movie.
Who was
And based on this film, you would never have predicted that he would have a long, illustrious film career.
I don't know. I thought he came out of the gate being Sam Rockwell.
Opinion.
He was very. I mean, you know, Sam Rockwell has a thing.
Matt, he didn't dance once.
He did not dance once. He did sing. You're right, though. He didn't do his famous dancing stuff yet. But I mean, he was definitely. He felt like Sam Rockwell. Like some of that stuff seemed a little bit of ad libby, and he was just kind of big and just kind of. I just was amused that he was that at what 17 or however old he was in this 18.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed like a random punk kid.
Because I don't know if you guys know his filmography much. I don't. The first time I ever noticed him and said, who is that guy? I want to keep my eye on him was Matchstick Men, that Nick Cage movie with like Amy Lohman, Alice Lohman. There was some young girl that was supposed to be the next.
Allison Lohman, probably.
Yeah. She was supposed to be like what J-Law like ended up being, like after Winter's Bone. There was this kind of buzz around her because she was in a couple indie movies around that time, and it never really, do you ever see her anymore? I feel like it never really came to light.
I know the name, but I couldn't even draw a picture.
Anyway, have you ever seen Matchstick Men?
No.
It's worth watching, especially for a 21st century Nick Cage movie. It's they're con men, and she's Nick Cage's real life daughter, and she never met her dad, and so she wants to spend time with him. And he and Sam Rockwell are these con men, and Nick Cage is this crippling like OCD and like these tics and stuff. It was actually really well done. I recommend it.
So back to what I was talking about before, though. This analog of these 3 boys, like it felt to me like, okay, the youngest one is the victim.
Uh-huh.
The middle kid was like he represented like the I believe you, I saw it happen, I'm on your side, tell your story, ally kind of thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And Sam Rockwell's character, the oldest brother, was sort of the like, what? That's stupid. Shut up. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Right. Okay. And we mostly see everything through these kids. Like not a lot of grown-ups in this movie.
You are pests.
Also weird.
Well,
what's that? Sorry, what?
He was pests. You know, his younger brothers are pests, and they're dragging down his cool quotient.
Right. I mean, I'm saying that's sure in a regular movie, but I'm saying as viewed through the prism of he's showing a metaphor of a pedophile preying on a person. Sam Rockwell represents. I'm saying he's confessing this thing. He's going, yeah, I know. Pedophiles suck and they're clowns and they're like evil people and they're preying on this kid. And then here's this kid who believes him. And then here's this kid who represents everybody else. It's like, yeah, shut up. No one's going to believe you.
Okay.
And it's weird to have this, like Louis C.K. had a similar thing in his show where it was like, you look back at that and like, he's all like, I mean, just going, yep, this is who I am. Like totally going to like jerk off in front of people, be weird and like do these power trips.
Yep.
And like Woody Allen's movies, like, yeah, put him on trial and show, you know, Manhattan or something. Like, it's all there, and it's so weird that they're like, this is like, I believe in this, and even though this one seems to not be like, it's not saying no, like, this is like pedophiles, they can't, like, it's just who they are or whatever. It's still making, if you view it through that prism, it's still making them out to be the villain, but it's all still kind of there, and in a way that I think makes me feel like it's not intentional. It's just sort of like, that is the, the Joseph Campbell kind of story that he wants to tell.
You're attributing a lot of
unconscious
decision.
Is what I'm saying. Unconscious is what I'm saying.
Well, I think you're attributing conscious decisions to it, because you're saying that.
No, but I'm telling you I'm not. So I'm literally telling you I'm not.
Can you let me finish my sentence?
Yeah.
If Victor Salva is saying that the clowns are the pedophiles are bad, and that he is consciously portraying the clowns as pedophiles.
That's not what I'm saying, though. What I'm saying is he's gravitated towards this story because unconsciously he's identifying clowns with that thing. He also unconsciously knows that what he's doing, his tendencies towards these things, are bad. He knows what he's doing is wrong, and it's perceived as rightly as evil by society, and yet he gravitates towards this story.
Well, let me ask you,
which normalizes his story.
Let me ask you this, guy. You guys, on a broader scale. In psychology, clowns have been associated with the unheimlich, the uncanny, that was Freud's German word for it, the unheimlich, which is, maybe
when
you guys
make
already know.
Someone choke.
It's when it's the uncanny, like I said. So like uncanny valley is related to it. Is when you take something familiar and ordinary, and then it becomes associated with the taboo or the strange or the kind of off, and it has the effect of unsettling people because it's something so familiar. Because it's taking something that is benign. Usually, it could be anything really. It could be any kind of object or something we come across in normal life. But then it's imbued with this sinister aspect, and then it then associates with things that are kept hidden, and they're dangerous and they're taboo. And clowns, because they're this, they are this thing that is associated with children, associated with bright lights and fun and carnivals and circuses. And they seem like people. They seem like dolls. Dolls are often something that's associated with the unheimlich in general, because they're people but not quite. Uh-huh. And that gives them their sinister aspect. I personally have never really heard, and I'm not saying you're wrong about his portrayal in this film necessarily, but I'm not generally aware of clowns being associated with pedophilia.
No, I've never made that connection until now, but I was like, oh, but if you were going to make a horror film association,
so that's why I was saying what I was saying earlier, and I didn't express it very well, but I'm wondering if he made an unconscious connection. Why would he make an unconscious connection of something that societally is not generally connected?
Well, what? Because everyone is afraid of clowns. You talk to anybody. It is the most cliche fucking phobia. It is, but not so because they're gonna rape you. Ooh, clowns are creepy, and nobody's seen this movie that I know, but everyone's like, clowns are creepy. They just are. They're off. Everybody knows that. It's not a real leap to go, what if a clown was stalking you in your house? Like, it'd be fucking freaky. And the kid says it in the movie. He's like, they wear the makeup and they play this part, but you don't really know what they're ever really thinking, which is like kind of the only real clever line in the movie. It was like, oh yeah, that's why clowns are freaky. So I don't think it's such a leap to go like, whoa, who would have thought? Like, clowns, I mean, it's not a David Lynchian.
No, they are associated with being creepy, but not pedophilia is what I mean. They're also not clowns.
Name one thing that's associated with being pedophilia. Name one thing. Name one thing that's like, oh, that's associated with pedophiles. I mean, like,
I'm pretty sure I could come up with one. I'm not a pedophile expert, but I think I could probably come up with one. Ice cream trucks.
It's like right, but ice cream trucks still exist. They're still, a thing that happens. I saw one the other day. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know that's
because they're not actually all driven by pedophilia. You just associations are not, they're not one.
So why ice cream trucks and not clowns though? Like why I can't think of a societal thing where it's because that Twilight Zone where the ice cream truck guy fucked all the kids, and so now like everyone associates that with it. Like there's no ice cream trucks are, they've only been around 50, 60 years, right? So
because vans are associated with sexual assault, and because ice cream trucks are associated with attracting kids, and because an ice cream driver is for a dude in a van attracting kids. That's why.
Yeah, no, I get that. Joe, can I did make a small handful of clips. I just want to play that clip that you were just talking about. I think it's when Casey's talking to his brother Jeffrey about the makeup hiding things or whatever.
So Jeffrey is the middle kid. Randy is the oldest.
It's just a man case.
I know.
Paint on his face.
Pretty funny, huh?
No. Know what I used to be afraid of? Still sort of am. The Wolfman. I don't know why. I know he's fake. But still.
That's what I don't like about clowns. Their faces are fake. Big happy eyes. Big painted smiles. It's not real. You never know what they really are.
So for me, that has loaded, coded, like predatory.
You never know who they really are. See,
Fear.
that's that thing. It's like behind the mask.
Right. And so I am not a psychologist. I don't know much about stuff like that. But there's some things in here for me that were major like signs and flags. Like like the bedwetting thing. Bedwetting is one of the first indicators that sexual abuse is possibly happening. That's like a commonly known fact. So the fact that this movie starts with this kid wetting his bed and then trying to hide it from his parents, to me, seemed kind of loaded. I mean, I'm probably going to be, Jason, we're probably not going to agree with me on a lot of this stuff in this movie, because I was just going, whoa, like writing down, the first time I watched it, basically until they go to the circus, it's just a Freudian fucking playground, in my opinion.
No, I'm not. Let me clarify something. That's not something I disagree about. What I was disagreeing about was necessarily that Victor Salva was trying to portray pedophiliacs is that the right word? Pedophiles as villains, consciously or unconsciously. But no, definitely. I mean, we see young kids in their underwear. We see bedwetting. We see Nathan Forrest Winter's bare ass.
Yes.
The victim. We see his bare butt in the beginning of the film. I was wondering, it was extremely hard, bordering on impossible for me to separate. I was really trying to ask myself, like, okay, it's really, really easy to read these things as signs. Am I overdoing it because I know the background of the film and the person who made it? I thought back to, there was one film that we watched for your show called Wild Animals, and there's a young girl, probably about the same age, who she's either briefly naked or virtually naked in the very beginning of the film. Also, she gets out of a bed, and you remember that?
Is it Wild Beasts, that Italian movie?
Wild Beasts, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's impossible to separate. To me, that part is impossible to separate. That this guy has the predilections he does. He's already been molesting. He molested Nathan Forrest Winters for years before this film was even made.
It wasn't. Are you sure?
Yeah, 7 years. And that kid and the middle kid were in a short film that he made.
Something in the basement or something like that.
Something in the basement, which has a 1986 date.
Yeah.
And he was molesting him back to that, at least. And then so he chooses to put all these kids, in a film in which they're going to be in their underwear, at least in the beginning of the film,
an inordinate amount of time in the first half hour of the movie.
Yeah. And kind of signpost this, like, yeah,
So here's sort of what okay, let's say it wasn't a conscious decision, certainly, but maybe a subconscious decision in the way that, like, Dexter is like, what do normal people do?
Yeah.
And he brings donuts to the office and shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
It's sort of like, ugh, how do I sublimate these things and turn them into like a story? And he's not. Yeah, what's societally acceptable? So if you look at, there are other things, people who have other sexual predilections that we know about, but they're acceptable in society, and they come up in their work, and we know about them, and we just know that that's their thing. So like I mentioned Woody Allen before, and it's like, yeah, he likes really younger girls, and he's playing him like a character version of himself, even though he keeps getting older.
Yeah.
And he's dating guys like Scarlett Johansson and shit. Like, what, dude? Or like, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood just came out. I haven't seen it yet, but I understand there's a large like foot fetish scene where it's like, okay, I'm going to make this great movie, but you have to sit through this foot fetish thing. And he's a well-known, like, that's a thing of his. But we're like, okay, well, I guess it's icky, but it's not really hurting anybody, so fine. So he doesn't have to, in those cases, because we're cool with apparently like grandpa dating younger woman or guy obsessing on feet, they don't have to sublimate that as much. They don't have to bury it. But I think when you're a pedophile, like, that's fucking indefensible. And so you bury it and bury it and bury it,
But in a way, though, he kind of doesn't, because if you're a pedophile and you're aware of that, if you're aware of it, and you're aware of it in the sense that you've done nothing, like you've done something wrong, like this is bad and needs to be hidden, why would you show the person whom you are abusing naked in a film?
Because he's showing the pedophile is like, oh yeah, they're bad. See, if you take it to that conclusion, you're saying he's not showing the clown as like, no, he's a hero. He's going, yeah, look, these guys are preying on kids. Preying on kids is bad. And that deflects any kind of blame from you. Like, well, this guy wouldn't be a pedophile. He just wrote a whole story about how prey on kids is bad. It's just like what Republicans do that are like super anti-gay legislation.
Yeah.
And then they go, and then it goes, oh, you were caught on Grindr with this dude, or in a bathroom stall with this dude, and you're the most anti-gay rights guy ever, and like, telling people to do like conversion therapy and shit. And it's like, it's that kind of thing. They're overcompensating in that way.
Can I posit something real quick, guys, before I forget?
Yeah, but I want to comment directly on what he said.
Okay,
though,
go ahead, Jason.
Not saying you're wrong, but I would think that if he was trying to do something like that he wouldn't do it that obliquely. That he would have, this is just throwing it out there, but he'd have like a scene where the clowns themselves were watching. What's his name? Like, all I can think of is his real name.
Casey.
Watching him like through, like they're going around the house and they're watching him when he's changing clothes, or they're watching him when he's on the toilet or something like that, where he actually portrays the clowns, if they're supposed to represent the bad guy pedophiles, creating the situation in which we are seeing him in that state, and not just in the beginning of the film, a good half hour at least before we even see them.
Right, but again, I'm saying it's like way deep coded, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like sublimated. Like I think if you told him now, he'd be like, "Ooh, yeah, I think maybe that was what I was doing." But like I've done paintings before, I've done work before, and started, and then like got to a point and looked back at it, and because I was just working, and then I went, "Oh, whoa, this is I think this is what this is about." That can happen.
Sorry, Matt, one more real quick thing that he just made me think of. This is very sinister, but it popped into my head. What if he's what you're saying, he's doing what you're saying, but what he's trying to do is he's trying to make the audience complicit.
That's possible too.
He's trying to evoke a response from people who are watching the film, like You know what I mean? Like, I hesitate to even say it, but I don't know how pedophile's mind works. But wouldn't you want to feel like you weren't alone, maybe? Wouldn't you want to feel like you were...
Right. I think that's anything where you feel like, ooh, this feels wrong, you know, even whether it's not or it is, you feel like you're the only one, and you feel like you want like to feel like, oh, this isn't that weird then. Right?
Yeah, like you viewers, some of you had some wrong thoughts too, right? I mean, I'm only human, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
I just wanted to mention that the first time I watched this, I was completely skull-baked, so I was just scribbling notes all over the place and reading all kinds of shit into it. But I watched it today sober. But my first read on it, completely baked, it felt like the three brothers were like Jeffrey, the middle brother, is like just the midbrain, and like Randy's like the tough exterior, and Casey is like the inner child, and this is all representing one type of person. That was like my weird trip on it. And I
like that.
Even watching it.
Sorry, what? No, I can see that.
I said I like that. That's an interesting.
Even watching it again today, this afternoon, I would bet you almost anything that Victor Salva wasn't a victim of sexual abuse. That's very common in people. It's a cycle. It's a cyclic thing. Not always, but commonly. I believe that this is him telling his story. I think Casey is him in some ways. I really feel like this was him kind of telling out what his experience was, and maybe like Joe saying, kind of like justifying it, or Jason, you were just saying, kind of like also justifying it from the other angle of like, you know, people have things that they're into.
Holy shit! Wait! There's that thing, that freaking quote. There's like the chyron at the end of the thing that says, "You can run from your fear, but it never, like, you'll never leave you."
No man can hide from his fears, as they are a part of him. They will always know where he is hiding.
Okay, so it's like, to me, something about that is like, if you combine what I was saying with what you're saying, and it's like, this is his, like, you get, because usually you're right, like usually people who become abusers often were abused. It's a cycle, right?
Often, yes.
So often. So if you view it as like, this is him telling his story of being abused, and then that sort of end title is sort of like the cycle continues in a way, where it's like that is sort of the pedophiles, what would you call it, like that's their scarlet letter, is they're like, well, I was abused, so now I'm this, and I have to go through this, and I know it's wrong, but this is my thing that I'm like. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you feel like it's thrust upon you and branded.
Yeah.
Which is a take I've never even thought of.
Yeah. So his fear of clowns isn't necessarily a fear of clowns. Salva was just taking a common thing that freaks people out and making that the fear, right? Like that is the fear, is the abuse. That's why he's wetting the bed from the beginning. It happened last time the circus was in town. He got scared by a clown, and he was so scared that the circus was coming to town again, Uncle Circus, whatever the fuck you want to call it.
That he
anticipation. Uncle Circus. It's like every time I go to frickin' summer camp, man, you know, and get touched by the bad man. It's sort of that. Like, it's that whole, like, the way that it's not his family. It's a thing that it's like a sort of, this triggers me because it's, you know, it's like, every time I go to camp, this bad thing happens, and then I try and bury it, and then I'm like, no, I'm fine. That was a long time ago. And it does seem like the kid in the movie, he's like, what? No, that was like, I was a kid. You know, when he's like first scared by clowns, he said like, I was like a little kid then.
Yeah.
He's like, no, I'm like older now, and that's stupid. I'm not scared now. But it's like he's suppressing this memory, which obviously still haunts him, because we saw it opens with the nightmare and the bedwetting. So yeah, I don't know.
So years later, he made the films that he's best known for, Jeepers Creepers films, and in Jeepers Creepers 1, recently released in 2001. You earlier, Joe, you said, what better metaphor is there for something that preys on children than this clown?
It's Jeepers Creepers.
One potential metaphor that is at least as good is the creature that takes children and consumes their body parts.
Yeah.
To extend itself. Everybody, that's been looked at as a metaphor.
And
many times.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not Joseph Campbell, but yeah, I mean, holy shit.
I read a really good blog
Friday while I was having lunch, because I was just trying to do a little bit of research, because I remember something. I've only seen Jeepers Creepers once, and it was like about when it came out, which was like 2000, 2001, something. But I was like, God, wasn't there something in there about Justin Long's dirty underwear? And wasn't there some creepy fucking thing about the thing like being attracted to it? So I went and was like looking around like Justin Long underwear Jeepers Creepers, and found this really nice blog post by this trans person who says that they watch Jeepers Creepers every year. They have since they were a kid, and they talked about how they transitioned and came out in high school and all this stuff. But they were saying that Jeepers Creepers is a confessional film, and that Salva is the beast. And like he's like that's his weird, probably unconscious way. I'm not saying confessional. Like I'm going to tell my story, make me a monster. But like he's you think throughout Jeepers Creepers that he's hunting this brother sister, but come to find out he like opens a bag of clothes, because Justin Long's character, they're going to visit their parents, and he's bringing his dirty clothes home for from college, and the creature like takes his briefs and is just sniffing them lovingly, and then starts tracking him. And so like when they split up or something like that, I think that it even chooses to follow the boy instead of the female. I thought it was an interesting read.
I'm pretty sure there's also a urination scene in that. It was either that one or the second one.
Okay.
So not that this is about psychoanalyzing Victor Salva, but I wonder if you make a film released in 1989, and keeping in mind that you've already been publicly convicted of sex abuse, by this time, so you're not keeping a secret at this point. Publicly, this is known. In Hollywood, this is known. You make that movie Clownhouse. That if you guys are right in that it's some kind of confessional, you've made that, and then 12 years later, you make another confessional film with the same themes, and then you make that a franchise.
To me, that's I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can call it a confessional at that point.
Well, no, but
confession is usually something someone does when they feel guilty about it.
Right, but I mean, he can't help himself. Like we always hear about pedophiles that are like, this is like I can't fucking not do it. And also people who know when they know they're doing something, when they know they've gotten away with something, they're guilty of something, they almost want to share it with somebody. Like to keep a secret like that, like makes people crazy.
But he didn't have to. That's one of the things about this that's interesting is
he didn't have to keep it that time,
like
but no one. But also there's this. I would posit this. You know how they say like everyone has one story in them?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his big like life-defining story. Like everyone has kind of one maybe story arc that they're gonna keep kind of going back to that well. Like I mean, I think you can see that with a lot of directors. Like if you look at what's his name? Wes Anderson, for example. Like his shit has like thematic very same shit. Right? And it's sort of like misunderstood clan of kids growing up, pretty wealthy and and estranged from their family, but getting to know each other and like, daddy issues or whatever. That kind of thing. It's like they're and every director sort of has that deal. Like you could take 10 Woody Allen films and go, there's a common theme here and it's not comedy.
Sure. But at what point is it? At what point is he aware that that's what he's doing?
I'm just saying.
Could he be that
that's sort of all they know, that it just is, that is sort of what the story you're going to tell. You know, it's like write about what you know or whatever. That's the kind of story arc that's going to make sense to him, you know?
So one of the large questions that we're asking, that Matt asked in the very beginning of this, was, you know, personally, as any consumer of media, where does one draw the line? Yeah. So we know that Victor Salva is a pedophile. That, you know, that's more clear in this situation than it is in many situations, but we know that. I think in thinking about this, like in general, in a lot of situations, I do and I can separate art and artist. But one of the exceptions, if there are exceptions, it definitely comes when the art itself expresses the thing that we would censure the person, the artist, for. Now, one could argue that, you know, obviously, like Salva, in a lot of cases, the art is going to express the artist, is going to express those elements of the artist. But I definitely think there are situations, and we could get into examples, but there are situations where people who have done some pretty terrible things, as society would agree, have made art that doesn't at least as explicitly express those things. Like what they're known for, whether it be Roman Polanski and the rape of a 13-year-old girl, I think it was. Like, you know, he makes movies in which there is no sex or no underage sex, or, you know what I mean, or not even any characters that are, you know, and so I have an easier time watching Chinatown or Rosemary's Baby or something like that than I would a movie made by a pedophile that in itself expresses pedophilia.
Those themes, or even if they're disguised, those kind of themes. I was thinking specifically about Roman Polanski with regard to that, because I love Chinatown, and I think there are a few things. I think one, which you said is totally on the money, where it's like you can separate art from artist if the art isn't bringing that point home. Like if someone came out as like a white supremacist, then you went back and looked at their work and you're like, ooh, holy shit. Like, it's all right there, you know?
Yeah.
That happened with
all those characters hate black people.
Right. Like, they're really exclusionary and weird. And Louis C.K. had a thing where I never saw it, but he did what was called a love letter to Woody Allen. I don't remember what it was called. And it was I don't remember even what platform it was on or how you could watch it, but it was this thing, and it, like, people were outraged at the time, and it was before he was totally, you know, like, confessed and outed as a weirdo. It basically was like kind of asking the audience to, like, hey man, this is cool, right? It's cool. And it'd be like, it sort of was excusing Woody Allen too. Like, so, you know, we slept with his adopted daughter. Like, that's cool, right? That's fine. You know, and so stuff like that is just like, Jesus Christ, what are you doing? Like, I don't care if you're Orson fucking Welles or whatever. Like, that shit's not cool. So some of the other things, Jason, that I and Matt, that I along those same lines that I found myself sort of being delineators was the amount of time, which we can talk about in a second, but the amount of time that goes by, or how long ago it was, but also the egregiousness of the offense versus the greatness of the artwork. So the greatness of the work of art versus the egregiousness of the offense. So you take Jeepers Creepers versus sucking some kid's dick, man. Okay, no contest. Like, I don't need to see Jeepers Creepers. Fuck that fool. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
So Louis C.K., same thing. This is the other thing, is there is a ton of content out there. There's a ton of people making great shit. So, and it is a privilege to be lucky enough. I mean, that guy, Louis C.K. in particular, like, that guy was a multimillionaire off comedy. That's insane. That's like, that's hitting the lottery.
Yeah.
So there are all these other comedians that are great and didn't do crazy shit. So fuck that guy. Even if he's a master craftsman, I don't fucking need it in my life. So I can let it go.
I was thinking of something really related to that. So, like you find this on sports teams sometimes. Like, for example, Derrick Rose was he went to court for rape.
Mm-hmm.
He was acquitted. Although if you read the rape not rape transcripts, court transcripts.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That's where I stand. You know where I stand on it. He didn't come off very well. The kind of things that he said didn't come off very well. I understand what you're saying, and totally that is something that people could draw their own line there. I can't help but feel though that tying the importance of the art, or in this case, for example, the talent level of the player, it's not too dissimilar,
Mm-hmm.
to whether or not you support them or not, is kind of a moral cop-out in a way.
I don't think it's the talent of the player, and I'll tell you why I think that is dissimilar. Because I think Louis C.K., to use that example because it's come up, because I brought it up, Louis C.K., I think still supremely talented. He's a talented director, editor, producer, and stand-up and comic writer. But as talented as he fucking is, I'm like, you know what? There's other comics. So Derrick Rose, same thing. You know what? There's other guys that would kill to be on the NFL. Like, don't need you.
Yeah, no, you're making the decision that you're basically saying, if I'm hearing you right, that for you won't tie that together. Like you won't make that decision based on that. But there are some people who do. I know for a fact.
Absolutely. People did it with Cosby. People did it with Michael Jackson.
Well,
if a guy, Michael Jackson's a good example.
Yeah, I want to talk about him for sure.
If a guy is, just to stick with my example, because why not? If a guy sucks, and he's like the 12th guy in your basketball team,
it's a lot easier to dismiss him.
Piece of shit, right? It's a lot easier for people to come out like in unison and say, "Fuck this guy, cut this guy." But if your star player, who is the whole driving force of your team, comes out with the same exact thing, you're going to get a lot of people who will not draw that same line.
Right. Like if Tom Brady came out as like, oh, he called, he beat the shit out of Giselle and called her friend a nigger, then he'd be like, whoa, dude, but like a lot of people would be like, but it's fucking Tom Brady, dude, and you would see that and it'd be abhorrent.
And it was, he didn't really, he's a nice, that's not him.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not really who he is though. We don't know what's in his heart and all that horse shit.
So
they would make it. They would make this because they don't want to let go of their values, their moral whatever it doesn't win out over their desire to follow a team and have the team win.
The team's success.
Yeah.
So
Michael Jackson. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So Michael Jackson. For me, that is one of those cases where I can personally. I watched the HBO documentary that came out. I tended to I'm a victim believer. That's my default position as I go there. So I've always had an issue with the allegations, and I saw the documentary, and it completely sealed any doubt in my mind. But
pretty strong evidence in that case too.
Yeah, but my thing with him is that he didn't start doing these things until the Bad World Tour. So. Okay. Which also coincidentally, for lucky for me, that's when I stopped giving a shit about his music. So I can still have Off the Wall, I can still listen to Jackson 5, and I can still have Thriller. That's still stuff I like anyway. But I don't feel comfortable listening to This Is Where I Fondle Little Boys and do stuff with the rest of my life. I can't do that.
So you just picture, like, chronologically what he was doing when it happened and make a distinction based on that.
For me, I mean, I
in certain
don't
cases,
think that somebody would have come forward around 1983 or whenever Thriller came out. If that was happening, wouldn't somebody have stepped forward and said, he was doing this even back before 1989 or whatever? So
interesting.
I think he was a sick kid. I think he had a rough life, and I think that he
got too famous too fast.
And he never grew up, and he was,
a lot of that shit made him have weird image issues, and he got too big too fast.
Peter Pan shit and whatever, but he wasn't doing it at Thriller. So I can listen to Thriller and not have the hairs on the back of my neck stand up. Can't do the same with anything after that.
Now, that being said, I never need to hear Thriller again.
Okay, well, yeah,
That's a different conversation.
I am an off the wall guy. I'm good with that album.
That's getting heavy rotation over the last couple of years too, in a way that's just like, okay, can we need a break from that, or it's not going to be special?
Which
anymore.
one, Off the Wall?
Yeah.
I mean, Justin Timberlake's pre-work.
Get enough. Like, okay, all right, settle down. Like let's not turn that into the new Journey, where everyone's like, oh God,
so
Journey again. Okay.
Did you guys watch A Wanted Man, the documentary about Polanski?
No.
Highly recommend it.
Okay.
But I'm curious how he's one of the first ones that pops up in my mind when this issue comes up. Woody Allen is the immediate go-to, and I stopped with Allen. I couldn't do it. I haven't seen a Woody Allen film, and I think the last one that I wanted to see, and I was dating Renee, was the Sean Penn plays the jazz guitar player.
Sweet and Low Down.
Sweet and Low Down. That I wanted to see that, and Renee said, "I'm not going to watch it with you," and I said, I probably shouldn't.
See, somehow I saw Midnight in Paris, which was okay.
Is that Owen Wilson?
Yeah, but
I've only seen really old ones. Like I've seen Annie Hall and
but yeah. Otherwise, I'm not interested in like I'm not like Vicky Cristina Barcelona or whatever. Like no, I don't give a shit about that. Like most of it, don't care.
I'm lucky. Sometimes it's lucky where you don't have to make a moral decision.
Yeah.
Because I just don't give a shit about his movies to begin with. I mean, I'm not going to pretend so that it looks like I've got social cred.
Right.
That it's because of his sordid history. I just don't give a shit about his films.
No, I mean, after I say Hannah and Her Sisters or Crimes and Misdemeanors, around that era is like the last good film I saw from anyway. I saw some pretty mediocre stuff, and then I'm with you, Jason. Like when it was a point I didn't care about his film anymore.
Yeah, and he started doing the same thing that not Jim Carrey, but who the fuck is it?
Someone kind of like Jim Carrey?
Yeah, just like, I do stupid comedy movies, and he started traveling to wherever they wanted to travel, and also kind of
making a film there, writing it off,
and making a film there, and like, well, we're gonna write this movie in Italy, and also because maybe people don't want him to film in New York anymore.
Yeah, right.
But he's like, okay, we'll film in Barcelona.
So one thing that makes Renee just see... Adam
Sandler.
Oh,
sorry.
Yeah,
where he's like, all right, I'm going to write a film in Hawaii.
Yeah, we're going to the Bahamas.
Yeah.
Get Drew Barrymore and write something on the plane.
If you're rich, I mean, when you do the same thing.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
But okay, so this is the thing that makes Renee boil, and it bothers me as well. I'll be flipping through stuff, and it's a Woody Allen thing. I don't know it's a Woody Allen thing project, and I see something that's like, there's Larry David on the cover of a movie poster or whatever. And then look at it, it's a Woody Allen film. Why is Larry David, why are these people working with this guy? This guy, I mean, look at the filmography of this guy of this century. He's had amazing people work with him. Why are they doing that?
I think it's a legacy thing. I honestly think this, because I was thinking about this about, 4 years ago, and like whenever Woody Allen's last movie, and it's like, fuck, people with integrity are still signing on to do a Woody Allen movie, and they're like, because I've never worked with him before, and like this is like literally my last fucking chance just to say I did a Woody Allen movie, just to say I worked with Woody Allen, and it's like, yeah, but dog, that doesn't mean shit anymore.
And he peaked a long time ago.
Yeah,
I think sometimes
that doesn't mean shit.
I think sometimes it's also the opposite. Sometimes people have personal relationships with people who are embroiled in those sorts of things, and
you don't say no to Woody Allen,
friends do. I mean, like people do. They stand by him. They're like, I have a bigger picture than you do, having read the New York Post or watched Entertainment Tonight. And we may think of them as people with integrity, and they may be, but
they still got like schmoozy relationships.
They don't blacklist someone who maybe they've known for a decade, or whatever. I mean, I definitely think that happens, and that's fine. Getting back to Clownhouse, then that's probably a good segue to talk about the.
Wait! What's Clownhouse? What's Clownhouse?
a really shitty horror film.
It wasn't that shitty.
It was shitty, dude. Come on.
It was it was competent.
It's kind of watch it while you do something else. I saw the YouTube thing, and it was like the YouTube had a lag, and so it made. And I still think maybe all the voices were overdubs, were all VO.
They weren't.
They weren't. Okay,
I watched
then
a
it was
high
just
quality one today.
Okay,
So
but that was bad.
I'd like to give two. I always enjoy doing this. I'd
Two
like
fingers up.
I'd like to give two.
Middle fingers up to Clownhouse.
I'd like to give pure pedophilia aside. I'd like to give two examples of this film's shittiness.
Okay.
Mostly it was just boring as fuck. But so there's a scene where the brothers decide to tell each other ghost stories.
Uh-huh.
And here's their ghost stories.
I have some.
All three of them. They all tell them. They're coming, and they're going to come, and then they came, and they got you, and then they're going to come for you, and they came through the door, and they got you. That's their ghost stories.
I have a quip. I have a quip. Before you play the quip. Before you play the quip, the quip. Are they different stories? Because I was half paying attention. I swear to God, my impression was that they were doing kind of an Exquisite Corpse version.
No, we were just seeing snippets of each of their stories.
And then passed it over to the next one. We're like, he murdered everybody, and then they're like,
Yeah, no, it's because it was painfully generic. That's why it sounded like that.
Yeah, they were just all intercut segments of their time killing. Here's a little of the Sam Rockwell first story.
Midnight, or just thereabouts. Midnight. A time for something awful, something evil, something real, or not. He was too scared to tell. It was that tingly feeling on the back of his neck that told him they were out there.
There's one of them.
That's a Casey thing, by the way. He gets a tingling feeling on the back of his neck when the clowns are around.
Right. Like Will in Stranger Things.
Yeah, exactly. The other stupid scene, I always dislike in any movie, and you see this in really bad movies, like every single one of them. You see these really contrived things, these contrived shots, or these contrived things that people do that they would never do in a million years in real life to set something up. And there's a scene where, is it Casey or is it the middle kid?
Jeffrey.
What's his name? Jesse?
Jeffrey. It's one of the two. And the character is walking into a darkened doorway after another character has passed through it. And the room is lit. The doorway's not, but the room is lit. He puts his hand out in front of him.
Oh, yeah, at the end.
And very slowly walks kind of through the room with his hand kind of out there.
Facing the opposite direction.
And I start thinking it's going to grab his hand, right? Because that's the only reason why you'd be like, look, his hand is right there. Here's his hand. And it several seconds worth of this hand thing. And then it focuses in on his hand. And then, yeah, sure enough, the clown grabs his hand. It's like,
jump scare.
Things don't work if you're like signposting it and making this awkward thing the whole time. It's not competent because it has stuff like that. And by the way, what happened to that clown at the end when he ran and the table fell on him? Did he just have a spasm? Well, I looked away. I just need you guys to fill that in for me. Was there an explanation for why he fell over and knocked the table onto himself?
He hit his head on.
Oh, there was if the mom established in the opening scene that there was like a hanging, like a weird drop in the ceiling. Yeah. She was talking to her husband on the phone saying, I hope you fix this. I almost get a concussion every morning.
Okay.
Yeah,
so he cracked his head on that. He cracked his head on that, fell on the table. But then he disappeared. That was weird, because how did he do it so quietly?
Shoes.
If there was any I always grasp at those straws, and the way that they did that scene with the conversation on the phone wasn't that terrible. Like it was just bordering on competent for me.
Yeah.
It's very cliche, of course. Then the killer's gone, and where's the killer? But
I thought there was a okay. So if you haven't seen this, okay,
just wait. The music was bad though, right?
Oh God, I hated.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted. We can move on.
No, I noted that both times.
It was fucking shit.
It was just lazy ass synth 80s horror movie music.
Terrible.
Just synth washes.
They all sound like that to me, frankly.
But this one was particularly egregious. So the basic premise here is that the circus is coming to town. The mom is going to visit her aunts, so the boys are alone. The three brothers, they go to the circus because they have to stick with Big Brother Randy. And also 3 criminals who have had their rights, their field trip to go to the circus revoked for behavioral issues, kill guards or something and escape. So they killed the 3 clowns at the circus.
And Aren't they mental patients? Aren't they mental patients?
What did I say?
Not criminals?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, they're mental patients. I'm assuming they're killers, though, but yes, they are mental patients. You're right. It's a mental hospital. So they assume the clowns' identities after the circus and start stalking these boys, and that is the plot of the film. And then it turns into kind of like Home Alone. Like the middle brother, Jeffrey, puts his sneakers out around a corner, so then the clown goes up there and thinks he's there, and then he comes out from behind him and shoves him out the window. Very Home Alone.
They really shove the shit out of him too. He has to travel about 5 feet till he gets to the window, and then he goes.
It was a hell of a shove.
It was like a swan dive out too.
It was really. I don't know if that was
beautiful
dummy or was that a stunt guy. What was that?
It was beautiful.
But this is the titular Clownhouse. Is the house in the last
their house
30 minutes of the movie is that is, I guess, the house they grew up in becomes the Clown House.
Yeah, it's
because there are clowns in it.
Also, by the way, Salva was extremely proud of his hanging
Halloween decoration.
Halloween decoration.
Oh, I thought you were going to say hanging of child pornography all over his weird sex basement.
Didn't you see it? They used that in the film like 3 or 4 separate times.
Yeah.
As
it never pays off.
No, it never does. It's always supposed to be. They always like, oh, I think that's Randy. Oh, I think that's Jeffrey. Oh, I think that's whoever's not in the scene at the moment.
Yeah.
So
take that thing down. It's not Halloween for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's a subverting like of a 10-year-old trope at that time. Since Halloween, essentially all these slasher blah blah movies, you're expected now to believe that is actually a human body switched out for the dummy, and so it's supposed to be a jump scare, and so it's supposed to be subversive, I guess, to have that not be a body twice.
I guess.
And they just changed the clothes so it looks like it was a little bit of it's a long walk.
He put his clothes on it to get Randy, to scare Randy.
But then the clowns put Randy's clothes on it the second time.
To make them
think.
Yeah, because Randy's one thing that was odd about this was it was bloodless.
It was no.
I think Randy was
hurt severely, but Jeffrey said, I think he's still alive as they were pulling his body out of the closet or wherever it was stuck.
They're like, I think he's still alive. We'll never know.
Yeah, I know.
I was trying to figure out who this movie was for, because this was in 1989. It was completely bloodless. It's not a slasher at all, because there's no slashing.
It's for pedophiles.
It's not for kids. It's not a horror movie that's pitched at kids, even though it stars entirely kids. It's for no one.
Is it supposed to be like?
It's for people like us now, looking back at it, trying to dissect where this guy's head was at.
Is it supposed to be like horror, like Monster Squad meets Goonies? Like, it's supposed to be like comedy free, like with that kind of level of age?
There's very little banter. There's no comedy. There's no
camaraderie.
There's like, I don't think so. I mean, if it is, it's an utter failure at that. Like maybe even worse a failure than it is as a scary movie, which it's not at all.
No, not at all.
There were a couple sweet shots though. There's one shot when the clowns are approaching the house, what will be the clown house eventually. But the main clown is tall and he steps up and there's this rule of thirds thing, and he's tall and then like the two buddies step up and flank him on either side and they're shorter, so it's got this nice little kind of, there's a couple of shots where it's like, that's decent.
Yeah, triangles.
You put an effort into there, I get it. Triangles.
I kind of liked at one point Randy and Casey are going to head to the store, before it closes, and they have to walk along a dark path to get there, and they don't have much time. So Randy takes off running, and Casey is whining, which is his main role. And he wants Randy to wait or something. So he lets quite a bit of distance get between Randy and him before he starts running. And as he does so, like right before he starts after Randy, a couple of the clowns come running from behind him, and like he's unaware of them at that point. And that's a little bit of a decent horror image. Like, something horrible is about to happen to a character. The character's totally unaware of it. And then he runs for an organic reason, which is Randy keeps going and doesn't stop. And he's like, I got to catch up to Randy. And so he's running just a few feet in front of the clowns. Without realizing they're behind him. He seems to have finally realized it toward the end. Yeah, he does. I mean, he says, I'm being chased or whatever.
Randy's running because Randy wants candy.
Yeah.
Come on.
Look at that
Casey, Randy wants candy. Let's go.
Chubby dude.
Can we talk about some more examples of this dilemma?
I've got lots of examples.
There's one that...
Can I mention one more thing about Salva?
I will allow it. Yes, you can say whatever you want.
I just wanted to mention, I got nothing to really say about it, but as far as taking a stand goes, I thought it was interesting that Bloody Disgusting, which is one of the more prominent horror websites, decided to take a stand, and they do not cover Salva's films or news, and have not since 2016, I think.
And it says something about media or whatever, that this film was hard to find. Like, there's a shitty YouTube cut of it, and I looked it up on Roku, typed it in, not on any media, and it's like, that's weird for a guy that did all those other movies. You think it'd turn up in one weird place or another, and it's not even for pay. It's just like, nah.
They have released 2 Blu-rays of it, though. 2 different releases.
It has been released.
Yuck.
All right, let's leave that behind.
So Jason and I are geeky guys who like some horror and comic stuff. I mean, Lovecraft is probably the prime person that comes up a lot in our circle of like, the guy was a xenophobe and a racist, and how do you square that with, what with his output? But, our friend John Morgan, who's been on the show several times, the first time I met him at brunch before a Comic-Con, he was saying, I understand all that stuff, but I really think that racism is at the heart of Lovecraft's brilliance. Like, I don't think he would create that cosmic dread and that his xenophobia is kind of where his angle was and what makes this stuff so interesting. So
wait.
The fear of the other.
Yeah.
Meaning it's him confronting his own xenophobia.
I don't know if confronting it is. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I guess.
For lack of a better word.
Yeah, for lack of a better word. He had a cat named N-word or whatever. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know.
Edward or N-word?
The N-word.
And N-word.
He had a cat named N-word?
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Joe apparently really wants to. He feels like everyone wants to be redeemed. I think it sounds like it's like
he had a cat with a name that rhymes with bigger.
This is going to take him a while for this to sink in.
No.
It's a well-known thing.
Boy.
I dubbed this chronological moral relativism, which maybe it's actually called that. I don't really know, but it's always nice. It's always nice when people are progressive beyond their time, like Samuel Clemens or somebody like that,
like abolitionists. Yeah,
but it's also somewhat uncommon, and it's also, I mean, you can decide for yourself. Everyone can, but I don't know if it's fair to necessarily expect it. Lovecraft writing horror in the, what was he writing in the
20s, early 30s? Lovecraft?
Yeah, around the turn of the century. His views, while abhorrent by our standards today, were not as abhorrent by the standards of his day. They were a lot more common. He wasn't known. It wasn't like, you know, in his day, like he would have been the Ben Shapiro of his time or anything. Like,
right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was expressing what a lot of people felt, and he probably didn't even think when he's kind of conflating. I'm going to use this word because he would, you know, like Negroid features or something like that, with a lack of civilization or a lack of intelligence or a lack of, like, I don't know that he wouldn't even think that was racism. I think
it'd be like when phrenology was a thing, you know.
Yeah.
It's like what? I don't understand. Yeah, like it's like that. It's that same thing that's, you know, you know, baby with the bathwater kind of thing, where like you can't just write off Thomas Jefferson because you're like, well, he owned slaves too, and it's like, well,
and every wealthy landowner in Virginia did.
Yeah, he knew it was fucked up, and he's forward thinking for that, but it's like,
right,
it's still like, I get that it's problematic today. But I guarantee you, if Thomas Jefferson were alive in the, you know, 1950s, that he would have been at the forefront of like, oh, hell yeah. Like,
yeah, because he was one of the most enlightened peoples of his time. If you want to distill everything down to he owned slaves and the miscegenation and all that, which was also super, super common, you could write him off. But I don't think you're doing him or yourself a service, because a lot of his ideas were fundamental to get where we are now.
Right.
You know, so when you look at something like that, like Lovecraft, when it's of its time, I have an easier time dealing with it.
So what did you call it, Jason?
Conform chronological moral relativism.
Chronological moral relativism. I like that. Okay, so it's sort of what I said like earlier in this podcast, where I said, well, there are a few things to me that like stuck out as things that reasons we give things a pass, and for better or for ill. And one of them is definitely that it's time between, you know, it's like, well, Picasso was an asshole, but you know, or like John Lennon was an asshole, but you know, like, whatever, like it was okay to slap your lady around then or whatever. And it's all, and another thing, like number two that we kind of make, like helps give us a pass, is the juxtaposition between their transgression, what society sees as their transgression, and their contribution, their artistic worth. So if you are just, you know, like, well, you're a guy making B movies, like you're what, James Toback, let's say, like, fuck that fool. Right. I don't need that guy's movies. So it's easier to write them off.
Does it matter to you if they made if there's an artist who had issues, let's say domestic abuse, since you've mentioned that, domestic violence, and then in other arenas that were not their artistic endeavors, they also did a number of things to contribute to society. Does that matter? You know what I mean? Like, you mean like giving to charity kind of things, or yeah, or you know, something maybe even more active than that, where they actively, and there's also, this is kind of a related thing, they had domestic violence issues with their first wife, and then in their later life, they actually created a domestic abuse charity or something. You know what I mean? Like they tried to make up for it in their own lifetime, in their own way, like directly addressing it.
That goes a long way for me.
Yeah, that's awareness. Yeah, like, I mean, that's like what like the Betty Ford Clinic is. Like, you know what I mean? In a way, it's like, hey, I used to be really fucked up, so I'm gonna help people who have substance abuse problems deal with that. So, and you know, like, no one was looking at Betty Ford and canceling her or whatever, but I'm just saying that, like, that shows us some kind of an awareness. If somebody is like, if Michael Vick is like, you know what, half my salary goes to ASPCA, right, that would be huge with me. Right. Instead, we just went, well, he did his time. He ran dogfighting rings, and I guess we're just not going to talk about it again because he's a good football player. Okay, cool. So But
until he wasn't, and then it was easy to.
Until he wasn't, and it was like, fuck that fool, fucking dogfighting ass. But I think so. There are these things, and those are two of them. I said like so there's the time one, the talent one, there's a. God, I had another one. I can't remember it, but one of my points I wanted to make that I'm just going to say now because I think if it's in here, if it doesn't, whatever, but I'm going to forget it if I don't say it, is that these are things. I guess I'm making a point that like these are for better or for worse. These aren't the criteria that we should be judging people by, artists by necessarily. It's just that what I'm saying is this seems to be how we do it. So certain people will say, Bill Cosby, but he did picture pages and Fat Albert and the Cosby Show, and so they can't let that go. And so what they're doing is they're creating that like talent versus like, okay, so he drugged a couple ladies, and to them that's a value judgment of they're like, but this is more important than this is bad, right?
I think it's even deeper than that because I think it's also that I think it challenges their own identity.
I think you're probably right about that. Sure.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and if they wrap themselves up in I've listened to Michael Jackson or I've watched Bill Cosby since I was a little kid and I've loved him and now you're telling me he's a rapist and like people are often very quick to take things personally when you're judging something that they like,
right,
that they've invested themselves in. Mm-hmm. Sometimes in really not serious and superficial ways. They'll take it very personally, like you're telling them that they're stupid for liking
bad
it,
people.
Or they're in this case they're bad people. Like you liked Bill Cosby, so somehow like should you have known that? Should you have been able to tell when you were watching him do stand up or act in a show? Like should you not? Are you somehow bad for having watched that? Did you help contribute to him being able to have the power to do that? And because they don't want to feel that way,
they don't want to feel complicit.
They push back at it. Like, no, I'm not going to argue that I'm not complicit. I'm going to argue that it's not even true. So I couldn't possibly be complicit because there's nothing to be complicit in.
So one of my things right around this area here, Jason, is that I saw some articles or two pop up in the last couple of years that were making some allegations against David Bowie. And I didn't even dig into them and I'm completely self-aware of what I'm not interested. The guy's output between 1970 and 1982 justifies whatever 15-year-old girl he slept with in the 70s on cocaine or something. Like
that's also groupie culture, which is different because if you're going to crucify Bowie for that, then we better be going after Led Zeppelin too, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Most big rock stars.
Yeah, Aerosmith, like let's go after them all then because that was the culture at the time and that's a perfect example of the like what Jason was saying about, like kind of different times. Like this was like sort of acceptable than that back then and like now not so much. You do that shit now, we're going to put you on notice.
Like R. Kelly.
I think that's also different than, there's always the arguments of like those that are really shameless. Well, we'll talk if someone's sexually assaulted, what was she wearing? Why was she drinking?
Oh, jeez. Yeah,
all that kind of stuff. But I feel like you can make a pretty definitive division between that and someone who, and let's not pretend this doesn't happen or didn't happen, that purposely went to try to get into the dressing rooms of these rock stars specifically to sleep with them.
Yeah,
that happened. So you have these guys who are young and rich and on the road and probably drugged out of their mind.
Yeah.
And they're all supposed to be so self-possessed and so in control and so incredible that they're going to turn down the affections of all of these.
Well, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous to say like what we love about rock stars is that they're bad boys, but then when groupies come back, that they're going to go, oh no, that wouldn't be proper. right?
It's just not gonna. It's just
crazy.
It's just not,
like,
it's
yeah,
not
if you were married and stuff, like maybe you should be like, no, turn them away. But I mean, back in the day, in like the '60s, rock and roll,
I'm sure
British
this is still happening. I'm sure it's still happening.
Oh, sure, probably. And I wondered about this too, about like, I think Hollywood is maybe worse, but maybe music is just as bad, but we don't hear the stories, because we've only heard like Katy Perry's producer. There was that story. I think it was it was Kesha.
Oh yeah,
Kesha
I remember that.
Producer, where she's like, "Fuck that fool," but we don't hear as many stories about that unless it's shenanigans with, musicians doing whatever. But
yeah, the power dynamic is different. I mean, it's not like the classic Hollywood thing is the casting couch thing, but that's when someone is trying to like get a role in a movie. They're trying to be a paid professional in that arena. A
groupie, for lack of a better word, a groupie is never thinking like, cool, I'll be a part of the band.
Here's my demo tape.
Yeah. They want to travel around with the band and party with the band, which involves quite frequently the things we're talking about.
But they're not
auditioning
hanger-on
guitars or anything like that.
Right. They know they're a hanger-on, a partier, and like, this is fun. I'm hanging with the Rolling Stones for a bit. This is a good story, or whatever.
Yeah.
So what about John Kricfalusi?
Oof.
I don't know. I did read something about it's the Ren and Stimpy guy, right?
Yeah.
He's apparently a creep.
Underage women serially.
It's enough for me that his animators all completely wrote him off, and they all talk about how shit he was to work for, and actually, I think, embedded some stuff in a post Kricfalusi episode of Ren and Stimpy that was basically big fuck you stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's funny. I think you can look it up, where they were just like, oh yeah, this is big fuck you to John Kay, because So fuck that guy.
I think John Kay fits into that category of like, this has happened a number of times with YouTube stars. You have these YouTube stars, male YouTube stars, young, often good-looking guys, whatever, built, and they attract these audiences of lots and lots of preteen and teen girls, and there have been some that have parlayed their celebrity into meet and greets, which then turn into, hey, let me have a relationship with this girl who's underage and 6 years younger than me, or whatever it is. I think John Kay is essentially like, these were, from what I remember of the article, these were girls that were fans of what he was doing, fans of animation. They wanted to be in the industry. They were starstruck, and he exploited that.
He preyed on that.
And
still predatory.
That is.
Oh yeah.
That's some pretty shitty shit.
That's predatory the same way that companies hire interns and promise them jobs.
Right.
Like, that is the corporate non-sexual version of that. Is, hey, come work at fucking Vogue and as an intern and just run your ass off, and you're not going to make any money, but maybe it'll turn into something. And
they're getting fucked. There's just no intercourse involved.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know, to bring it back to our subject is like, can you separate the art from the artist? Like, there's a lot of shitty things. Like, can I watch Ren and Stimpy? Yeah. Well, one thing I wanted to ask you guys was, like, one reason people I think give quite frequently other just like moral repugnance is they feel like if they go to a movie that's made by Woody Allen, knowing what they know about Woody Allen, that they are financially contributing to someone they don't want to financially contribute to.
Yeah.
Right. Does that
even
matter?
if it's not just finance, you're approving it by being involved in it.
Well,
you're literally saying with your dollars, we don't care what you do in your personal life. We're okay with this. It's the same. So this kind of comes back to something I wanted to mention, which is, you said, it's kind of like how how people don't want to take account when they feel like they got swindled. They go, "You're personally attacking me," right?
Right.
Like, oh, well, you're attacking this thing. I put all my eggs in the MJ basket or in the whatever, basket.
Trump basket.
And Trump basket is absolutely that, because there's been psychological studies when people get swindled by a charlatan, they will do fucking mental backflips.
Yeah.
To not admit that they're like, no, I wasn't. No, puppet, you're the puppet. No.
And we've seen that. We've seen that so explicitly with these, like, they have their just standard phrases. It didn't happen. Fake news.
Great job, president. You're my president. Like, whatever, and like flagging your thing on Twitter. But this is what I'm saying when I say like, sort of, this is how we deal with these things, for better or worse. Is I've seen people do this in bad ways. Colin Kaepernick is a perfect example. They're like, people who normally did not give a shit about football decided, well, this guy's going to kneel in the national anthem. Well, fuck that guy. And so the political thing was worth more to them than his worth as a quarterback, because they didn't care about football. So they're like, fuck that guy. And then people try to downplay, like, well, he wasn't even a good quarterback. But it's like, actually, he was a really good prospect, and he actually played it. And actually, he was a pretty good quarterback, man.
I don't know if he made a Super Bowl as a quarterback, but he was definitely in an NFC championship game.
I think he went to 2 championships, so he's no slouch.
No. I wouldn't even call that a political thing. I mean, they'll of course they'll. But it is. But
they're saying no.
It's a racial thing. It's a powerful black man disrespecting, quote unquote, the flag, but we all know it has nothing directly to do with the flag.
Right, but I'm saying let's imagine though that let's say you have an allegiance to a president, and he puts.
Don't make me imagine that.
I know. I'm sorry, but if this person puts that out there, then you say, yeah, and then you have no allegiance to this thing, so you're totally happy tanking this guy and going, how come you don't believe in the flag? And it's like, well, that's not what this is. And they're like, yeah, it is. It's disrespectful. Like, blah, blah, blah.
Well,
There's also that shirt. I don't know if you saw Jason on Facebook. I posted that shirt, but it said something to the effect of like, racism is so American that when you protest it, people think you're protesting America.
Yeah, I did see that.
That's like exactly
what
this is.
That's like...
Yeah, we've seen that. Yeah, we've seen that a number of times from Republican talking heads, the Tommy Laurens of the world, where they will assume, they will go right to that you're like, it's almost as blatant and simple as racism is bad. Well, why are you saying that Republicans are racist? Like, did I? No, I just said racism was bad.
Yeah,
like I didn't even rope you into that. You know,
you can almost bait them into their own trap. There was I actually read a thing today where there was like, it was the press saying, or somebody from the press saying, in light of Trump's, blah 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 racist comments, it's like it's polling well with his base.
Yeah.
And then the next thing was like, but is his base racist? Like, basically it was that. And it's like, it seems like you just said it was, though. Like, you just said Trump said racist shit because it polls well with the base. Mm-hmm. And then like, yeah, but are those people racist? That doesn't seem fair. We don't know what that's in their hearts. Ugh. Like, okay, but you just fucking said it. Like, you just said that A equals B, B equals C. But does A equal C? I don't know. There's no way to tell.
So as far as the separating the art from the artist, if we do want to use that analogy, it's like Trump is a means to an end. If it's a film director, the means to the end is, I like to watch films and this film is entertaining, and so I'm going to make excuses for the artist. Or, maybe you don't. Maybe you just separate it completely and you don't care. But we've seen that as far as separating the quote unquote art from the artist in this case, there are no links to which people will not go.
Right.
Because whatever they see as the end game, whatever they see as Trump contributing to them that they feel like they can't live without, plus the elements of, I've gone this far, I can't go backwards. I have to double and triple down now.
It's yeah. It's totally like a betting analogy where it's like, oh, well, I can't walk away from the table. I just lost 10 grand. Like I have to put in another 10 grand and like double down. I gotta win now just to make my money back. Yeah. And it is that. And so people don't want to feel stupid.
And people have lost family members over this.
They will. Yeah, and they will do mental backflips and act stupider than they were possibly capable of to avoid feeling stupid. And that's been true since snake oil salesmen, like medicine men, when they're like, what? No. If the placebo doesn't work, they'll be like, no, it totally works.
Yeah. And then there's also the difficulty of being the one person in Tombstone who doesn't buy the snake oil.
Yeah, he's like, this is bullshit.
Because like, this is bullshit. But then you're the kid, and you're the kid with the Emperor's New Clothes. Then you're the one. Yeah, nobody likes you. Even if they all realize that the snake oil is bullshit and you were right, they're still not going to like you for pointing that out.
Yeah.
So people who are in communities, I feel lucky all the time that I'm in Portland. In that sense, I have lots of friends who are politically similar to me who live in places where that's a lot less popular. And I mean, I have a friend who lives in Steve King's district in Iowa.
Mm-hmm. Yikes.
Yeah, yikes is right. So to kind of have the moral fortitude to be that person, to like, no, I'm not going to take the easy route. I'm not going to stick. I'm going to be the person who's going to call that out and not go along with that. Despite how difficult that, my community makes that for me. But
what's Steve King's platform? He's like marry your corn or something.
White supremacism.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to
white supremacists.
Grow corn and marry it, and only have sex with your corn.
That might also be a thing.
He's one of those people that will say something and then they'll call him out and he won't even do some kind of backpedal reinterpretation. Like, he doesn't give a shit.
Oh no,
he's like full David Duke.
Yeah,
he is. Yeah, he is.
He's just like, well, whatever. Y'all wrestle with it.
And he got reelected on that platform.
Yep, he did.
So that tells you something. Let me ask you guys a question, Matt, if you don't mind. How about abusive directors?
Like Tarantino,
like
John Waters,
Friedkin, Hitchcock, famously, Kubrick.
Yeah,
Kubrick.
What was Friedkin? What's Friedkin? Well, how is he abusive?
He was known for being very intense and abusive on quite a few of his films. One of the stories when he was making Blue Chips, which was the film about young basketball players and like Shaq was in it and stuff, he slapped one of the actors who wasn't giving him the emotion that he wanted in the scene. And I also recently watched Sorcerer for the first time, and apparently that was a hellish set.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah,
good pinball game though.
Yeah.
It also kind of like you can combine that with unsafe situations, like
that seems like a workplace safety like union situation where they'd be like, you can't fucking do that, man.
Yeah, that's
so like what Kubrick did to Shelley Duvall on the set of The Shining is like fucking insane.
So the question on that is, directors who feel like they have to act a certain sort of way toward their actors because, and to a person, they do it because in their words, they need to get the best film, the best performance they can out of the person. Right. They don't do it because like they like to hurt people and their opportunity. Well, and I think that's true because they're doing it on a set with a bunch of people around.
Because a sadist has never said no. I'm not being a sadist. I need it. For the art. Come on.
How valid?
I have to tie you to the bedpost and leave you here for hours. For the photograph, for the film I'm making.
Was that a Shelley Duvall thing?
No, he just fucking scared the shit out of her. Like,
yeah, he wanted to keep her on edge. That was the thing. I also saw something recently.
I mean, it worked, but don't you like? If you don't think Shelley Duvall can pull it off, get another actress then, because a good actress is going to be able to pull off like, I'm fucking terrified.
They did this also. Hitchcock did this on the set of The Birds.
Yeah. Yes.
Apparently he had this loud. He had this horrible music playing, this discordant sound, to try to put them, Tippi Hedren and a couple other actors, to make them anxious, to make them like, nervous and. Yeah, when does that become abuse? Is that acceptable? Is that?
The music thing, that's a little less whatever. But
if it was music, or if it was like, it was like they use stuff like that on people.
Guantanamo Bay shit.
Yeah, and to get people out of a compound, or whatever. Like,
but they don't. That's not Gitmo. They can walk from that set at any point in time.
Yeah, and be like, "Fuck you, call." Yeah, I'm done.
Like, right. I mean, like the Blair Witch Project was the same thing. Like they tortured those people, right? Like they had black bodysuits and were just out in the woods throwing shit and playing tapes of babies screaming, and they didn't sleep for like 5 days. So towards the end of that film, they're coming undone.
Interesting.
So it's fully voluntary then in that case, which is like that makes it a BDSM situation.
Kind of though.
Right? Like I hired a dominatrix. If she beats the shit out of me, I can't sue her for like breaking my rib or whatever, right?
No, I don't think that's entirely the same. Because if you're an actor and you go to work for Hitchcock,
the studio will cover it. The studio will cover it. No, sorry, I was trying to swat a bug.
I'm not talking about, if you're a person who is, let's say it's your first film and you want to work again and you're making a film with a very powerful person. And
you would have heard what it was like to work with Hitchcock, though. People talk, Jason, and people would be like, hey man, everyone knew what Harvey Weinstein was like. People would talk. They were like, hey man, look out for this guy. If he invites you to a thing, bring a friend. Like, that's how people talk. So
Hitchcock
I know
treats actors like cattle. That was a well-known thing.
They did it though because he could.
They did it because it was Hitch, and it could make them.
The other thing about people like that is, I kind of do believe there is such a thing as tough love, kind of. Like I think that's like a somewhat legitimate thing, and I've had this experience also where I've become better friends with someone after I had my first big fight with them. And there are lots of actors and actresses, I'm not gender specific here, who will defend all of those people we named and all of the other ones who, and there's also David Russell's apparently has been a hellion, who will defend them, who will like, their methods are their methods. Maybe it's not so much fun at the time, but they got the best performance out of me, or they didn't do anything to me that really harmed me. You know what I mean? Like they do.
It was a tough process.
Yeah, they excuse it as like it's a tough process, but that isn't necessarily like there's a line you can't cross. Obviously,
John Landis,
and maybe actually punching your actor is a line, but. Yeah, or causing deaths if you're incompetence. I don't know the entire story on that.
That wasn't incompetence. He was told he was breaking laws and rules.
He disregarded. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. There are lines. But if someone's if someone's a screamer, if they're hard on you, if they make you uncomfortable because they keep you out in like there's a hose shooting on you to simulate rain and they keep you out there longer than is like you would really like to be, like, is that a reason to vilify them, or is that a reason to like not consider their art worthwhile? I don't know. I tend to feel like if the people that are involved in something don't harbor any ill will, then I feel a little bit less justified in harboring my own.
Right. They don't want to press charges. Who are you?
If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
I mean, there's levels to that. I mean, obviously, if somebody's like, I don't know, if somebody's like an apologist or brainwashed or intimidated or bought off or something, you know, maybe that's different. But like, you know, if someone has a continuous working relationship with someone who they've also been tied to, like Uma Thurman and Quentin Tarantino, they've had their stuff that there's people who vilify Tarantino for, and we could talk about exactly what those are and whether, you know, you think it's like legitimate, but
isn't she permanently damaged, like her spine or something from?
She was in a car crash that she partially blamed him for. I don't remember all the details. It wasn't super cut and dried, but
okay.
You know, it wasn't like a Landis situation, definitely. And I've read it from her perspective and I've read it from his perspective, and they're fairly similar. But she definitely, in the moment, because she did have some pretty serious, you know, physical repercussions, she felt that he could definitely have been safer about it.
Yeah.
That he pushed her in a way that it ended up leading to something not good. She doesn't think that he had any good.
Oh, I'm just saying it's interesting that they were super tight, like wrote Kill Bill 1 and 2 together, conceived it after Pulp Fiction, and she hasn't worked with him since.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought too. Although they're talking about 3 now.
He doesn't. Yeah, they're talking about 3. I mean, it's true. He doesn't make movies super fast, but it's true. I mean, she hasn't been in his last.
But
3.
he did Inglourious Bastards since then. He did
Hateful Eight, and there was another one, right?
The one that just came out.
Hollywood.
Well, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but
yeah.
I feel like there was even maybe one more. No.
Yeah, the one with
what's the slavery one? What's the slavery one?
Django Unchained.
Django Unchained. Thank you. So, like,
it's true.
She doesn't turn up in any of those, even in a cameo, and like, okay,
that's true.
But again, it's like with that, it's sort of a choice, and I think actors, when you get to a certain level, you suspect that you're going to maybe get to a level where you're like, I'm going to go for the Oscar and I'm Christian Bale and I'm going to lose all the money, all the pounds for all the money and all the awards. Like, I'm going to become the machinist. Right. I lost fucking 150 pounds and became a skeleton for this movie. Or like, you know, something less like unhealthy than that, which is like maybe like Charlize Theron in Atomic Blonde, where it's like there's a scene where she's insisted on doing all her own stunts, and they're like, okay, and she like literally broke a stuntman's nose, and they're like, wow, they're like, you're fucking awesome, but it plays so much to the realism of that in a way that quick cuts and body doubles would not have. Like if you've seen towards the end of that movie, the close quarters, it's like in this East Berlin apartment, the fight between her and these Stasi guys, it's like, it feels like knock down, drag out, like real, in a way that doesn't feel staged, which is like insane. And part of it is that like they can film it in a way where she's the actual actress and the guy's the actual actor, and they don't have to do clever shots shooting around that and do like things that feel fantastical and whatever. But
that brings up the other Quentin Tarantino thing. There's a scene in Kill Bill where he chokes, or not he chokes, well, he did, but Uma Thurman is choked by what's her name?
The doctor, right?
Kojima. No, the girl with the mace, the ball on the chain thing.
Oh, right.
And if you can picture it, if you've seen Kill Bill semi-recently and you can picture it, it does look pretty damn realistic. Yeah, she's like, her eyes are kind of bulging. She's red. She's like, it looks pretty visceral. And Tarantino did the choking in that scene. And his explanation, this I have not heard from Uma Thurman's standpoint. He says that Uma Thurman, he says it was her idea to actually like legitimately choke her to a certain extent, like for a certain amount of time, to get a real choking look and reaction. And he says he did it because he didn't trust anybody to do it, because it was a dangerous thing, kind of an intimate thing.
That kind of makes sense to me, because if it goes wrong, it's going to fall on him anyway.
Yeah.
And so that doesn't strike me as a fetish thing. It strikes me, well, it could be, but I mean, it strikes me as more as like, hey man, this is going to fall on me anyway. So unless we're going to get a choking expert in here, which that might be a thing, then I'm just going to do it. And we're going to have she'll squeeze she'll squeeze my arm when it's like, no, done.
Too much. There's kind of two components. There's two components to that. There's that one with the people will say, well, he did it himself, which is somehow makes him worse, which I'm kind of with you that I don't know that makes him worse. I mean, if he's taking the responsibility directly rather than saying, hey, you guy, choke her, I don't,
and then going more. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that's,
and he can't even anyway. And then the other element of that is it important? Is it important to a film? Is it worth it? Is it worth subjecting the actress to that? Is it worth any level of danger involved in that to get that? And that's something that, that's like a big conversation about film and like how, you know what I mean? Like,
I actually got waterboarded for this scene, and that's why it's so real. And it's like, dude, nobody cares. You didn't have to do that.
Right.
There's
a definite argument there. Yeah.
That shit sucks. Like, I can see Spider-Man like jumping down, and they still can't quite get the physics right. Even in the newest good movies, they can't quite get like, that doesn't quite look right physics-wise, and just my brain knows because I've seen stuff fly around and land in real life. And so I'm going to forgive a little CG blood or a little like fake makeup choking, whatever. And I'll be like, I get it. She's choked. I get it for the story.
Yeah. That's the thing. It's like nobody got
need cinema verite, man.
Nobody got their limbs actually cut off in right. And we didn't sit there going, man, this would be so much more
look real. There'd be more bones sticking out.
Intense if people actually got their limbs cut off. Yeah. I think an actress could, or anybody could like strain their face and make it red and do a good enough job of making themselves look like they were choking without actually being choked. So that's it. That is a discussion to have. And he's done it twice, because he also did it with Diane Kruger in Inglourious Bastards.
What about this? What if you think they're like, well, we need to do this is really dark. They're like, the choking stuff, well, there's a lot of dudes out there that have actually choked a lady out, so they're going to know what it looks like. So we need to make it real. As opposed to there's way fewer dudes out there that have chopped off limbs, so we can just do the regular Hollywood shit for that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do, but I hope not.
I fucking hope not. That's terrible. I had this thought about Kill Bill that was, and I hope I can retain it. It was basically that, the thing where she goes like over and over and over with it's like the distance of her hand, and then she punches. Does that make sense? She she puts her hand like perpendicular to the post, just her fingertips touching it. It turns it into a fist and punches it. It's what ends up in Kill Bill, and it ends up what gets her, spoiler alert, out of the coffin. Right. She does those little punches. Wow. Right. Yeah. So I feel like that is a cinematic metaphor for doing Hitchcockian takes over and over and over and over and over. Huh. That's the thing I just came up with. What do you think?
I love it.
Like just like no again, and then it's like by the 47th take, it's like Janet Leigh or whoever's so broken down. It's like oh, got it. Yes,
we've all seen the so many scenes like set in a military school or something, or like Karate Kid, where the evil dojo guy puts his charges through physical and psychological torture because they're not quite giving him or even better example, what's his face? J.K. Simmons in that movie with the drummer.
Whiplash.
Whiplash.
No,
man.
Again.
Like,
no.
Plays
again.
like
no. Again.
Over and over again. Like
again.
Are you fast or are you slow? Yeah, I mean that's fucking psychological torture.
But I also feel like that's another fun, like fun in quotes, myth of the artist is like, I mean, definitely practice makes perfect, but that whole like you have to beat yourself up so hard and just like all you do is this and over and over and over until your fucking brain and balls and fingers bleed and like whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
And then only then will you be a true artist. Not like no again. Like
that movie, to be fair to the movie, it was debunking that, because when I was watching it, not really knowing much about it except for the basic premise, I thought it would have more of an ending of like, I kind of hate this guy. This guy was horrible to me, but I'm a super awesome drummer now. And I kind of see the method to his madness, even though he was a piece of shit. But that's not where it went. It went like, this guy is a piece of shit. He went too far.
Right.
It condemned him for it. It did not say that was okay, or that he had to put him through that, to be a good drummer. Which is what J.K. Simmons' character definitely thought that was how it had to be. Like, if you want to be the best, this is how you have to do it. And that's kind of where these directors, that's the mindset that they have is, whether they decide like this movie needs to be as realistic, these performances need to be as realistic as possible, and this is the environment I have to create in order to get that out of them.
But you know what? They end up getting 100 takes and settling for like, oh, you know what? Take 3 was actually the best one. That actually has happened. I swear to God. I swear to God, that's on record. That has happened where they're like, yeah, we did 47 takes and we put them through hell. I'm like, you know what? Take 3 is the best. I like that. I like that end scene, that end cut scene in Whiplash where J.K. Simmons is like, bring me pictures of Spider-Man. He's like, you know what? You're an okay drummer as long as you get me pictures of Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then
you crazy guys, kook. You crazy kook.
We need to bring this. I think we've solved the question.
We did.
Have we?
Yes. So
all right.
We didn't solve it so much as solve around it.
Yeah,
there's so many things.
It was a great discussion, though. I had a great time talking with you guys about it.
Yeah. So what did we decide? Can you separate the art from the artist?
It sounds like there's a lot of different positions and a lot of different circumstances that necessitate. I don't know. I
don't know. No.
Oh, I got a good thing, Matt. How about this? What's in closing? What is it? Each of you name an artist that you don't feel you have to separate the artist from the art. Like you feel is like unimpeachable in his.
Oh, I got one.
Art or personal life or whatever, and you're like nope.
Oh, that's what you're asking.
Like that guy's not going to get like Me Too'd or whatever.
Well, this is an old one, but from reading Lenny Bruce's book, I think W.C. Fields was apparently an anti-Semite, and Lenny Bruce said, "I don't give a shit. He's funny as hell." So I don't give a shit either. That's one of my guilty
I thought that's what he was asking.
Oh wait, this is the opposite of what I was exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were asking like what were you asking?
I was asking for an unimpeachable artist, somebody who you feel like, in your estimation, wouldn't get canceled.
Oh, you go first.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. I would say I'd pick a painter because they're pretty mellow. And as painters go, they don't get wilder than Robert Rauschenberg. He just had a retrospective recently, and I think he's pretty all-inclusive and pretty cool guy. Lived with Jasper Johns, I'm pretty confident he's like a humanist and a good person.
All right.
And I like his far out art. So yeah, go with that.
Sure. For me, I don't give it much thought. There's lots and lots of people that if I don't have reason to believe that they're not a piece of shit, then I don't really think about whether they have skeletons in their closet. Plus, I never assume that anybody is unimpeachable morally. I think anybody can end up having something that society would frown upon. There's people like Keanu Reeves, seems like a pretty nice guy. He's lived long enough on this earth and had enough female co-stars, and it's like everybody seems. I
think that is a great answer, and I'll tell you why. Jason, did you see this thing recently where it was like people picturing, like posting pictures where he's like, he's very respectful, like hand on the hip when he's like, and it's like not even on the hip, it's like kind of floating. Floating. Posing for like people are like, can I get a selfie with you, Keanu? Yeah. So I think that's a fantastic answer.
I was also going to say that on the flip side of that, and like Matt's original answer, some of the people that I like the absolute least on Earth, I still don't really care as far as the work that they've done that had nothing to do with the beliefs I hate. For example, James Woods is an absolute piece of shit.
Yeah.
But I don't care. He was in some movies where he was good and they were good, and in the movie he didn't start talking about his fucking alt-right beliefs. So
Charlton Heston.
As a kid, dude, I will go to my grave loving Planet of the Apes and Omega Man.
Yeah, he started out liberal before
Clint Eastwood. I'm a huge Clint Eastwood film fan.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. That stuff doesn't matter. But like, James Wood had like a legitimate piece of shit. One of the worst people I can think of is that dude in comics, EVS.
Oh yeah, Ethan Van Sciver.
Absolute piece of crap.
Whoa.
In every possible way.
Who is this?
He's a hotshot artist. He works for DC. I think he's just rabidly conservative.
And not only that, but he makes a lifestyle out of harassing people and sicking his people on people.
His followers onto
liberal creators, and he's a piece of fucking hot shit.
He is terrible. Okay. But now where he's concerned, he doesn't do a single goddamn thing I give a shit about. Yeah. But like in some theoretical alternate universe, if instead of cyber fucking frog, he had written and drawn Stuck Rubber Baby 30 years ago, I don't know, whatever, something amazing.
Yeah.
I could still, like, I wouldn't feel guilty for having read that. I could read it again today. Of course, today would be in the back of my mind that, Jesus Christ, this fucking piece of shit wrote this. But I would separate that. I would still separate that. So
I'm happy that Bill Sienkiewicz, how the fuck do you say it?
That's how you say it.
Sienkiewicz, yeah.
Sienkiewicz? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank God I got that right. Anyway, I'm just happy that he's still, awesome.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow him on Twitter. He's a cool guy.
He seems pretty cool.
Yeah. Mine's gonna have to be I don't know, David Lynch. I love the guy. I've read his book, seen a billion interviews with him. I don't think that he would do anything that I would consider morally reprehensible or could turn me off to him.
I feel like we would know too.
Yeah,
because the guy's kind of an open book.
Yeah, he
but
is.
It's a really complicated book.
Yeah,
but it's an open book.
Yeah.
Well, and he's an open book and a weirdo, and also somebody that, like Woody Allen, people are like, oh, I want at this point the opportunity to work with, and all that shit has come out about, Woody Allen, who's still making shit, and David Lynch just kind of like, I don't want to make stuff. Oh, okay, I'm going to make a movie now. I'll do Twin Peaks again. So, like, he's not doing like Woody Allen, who makes a fucking movie a year to, I don't know, like pay bank debts or whatever.
Yeah,
so,
I think Lynch only makes something when he really wants to.
When he wants to, yeah. And I think definitely even like Michael on Keene not coming back, like that bothered me, but I don't think it's because he didn't want to act again. I don't think it's because any ill will.
No,
He said as much?
He said, yes, he retired fully from acting. He's done nothing since he retired. He and Lynch had several conversations, and Lynch said, I couldn't get him. I thought I could, but I couldn't talk him out of retirement. He has no interest in doing that.
I know we're done, but it just made me think of David Milch. You talking about, Twin Peaks coming back.
Oh, yeah, Deadwood.
David Milch is not considered to be at the top of anybody's list of horrible people, but he's not at the bottom either. Like, he's had a lot of contentious relationships throughout his career.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's fought with a lot of people, alienated a lot of people. But I don't think anything has ever penetrated down to like, this guy's morally repugnant. And just the fact that when they made that Deadwood movie, which was awesome, as a Deadwood fan, I was very satisfied. Everybody came back. Everybody that could come back came back.
Yeah.
Everybody that hadn't died, in the original show, or I think there was maybe one person that didn't, like one slid, like.
Yeah, Ricky Jay, man.
Oh, no, I remember.
But you said that hadn't died. Sorry.
That hadn't died. I remember who it was. It was the guy who played Silas. He didn't come back. He was on some other project or whatever. But like, everybody else came back. And
he was on
like
Bosch.
11 years later.
Silas is Bosch, right?
Bosch. Yeah. Bosch.
Yeah, that's Bosch.
That's him.
Tulliver.
Yeah. Titus Welliver.
Titus Welliver. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
But I mean, it's like, it was, reading about that, like, was that one actress who plays Jewel, who's like, she's like a groundbreaking actress for people, like differently abled people, and she'd had spinal surgery and was like fucked up, super huge in pain, and David Milch was like, well, I'm gonna do whatever you need. You get your own trailer, shoot the scene this different way. I want you in it. And like, was she critical? Not necessarily, not from a plot standpoint, but just the fact that everybody wanted to come back and do that, tells me something about him. You can be an asshole. You can be a lot different. I'm an asshole, but I like to think that I'm not an asshole. That means that, I'm a piece of shit. So,
hey man, I'm an asshole, but it doesn't mean I
see their way around it.
I'm an asshole, man, but it doesn't mean I'm creative.
All right.
Like, I'm just me, man. Just doing me.
Just do you, man. Hey guys, thank you for doing this. It was a little bit different. I had a great time talking with you about it, though.
Yeah, it was cool.
Thank you, Matt.
Good idea.
Yeah, and folks out there listening, if you have an opinion, you want to tell us how wrong we were, or someone that we forgot about, that we should have talked about, you can tweet at us at @that's_trash. We'd love to hear from you. And for That's Cool, That's Trash, I'm Matt Howell, and my good guests have been
Jason Farrell
and Joe Kincher.
You folks out there, stay trashy.
That's trash.
It's garbage, folks.
Soft hand. It is good to be soft, but dangerous too. You know what I say?